Kid, this means a lot to me. I hope it means a lot to you too. Enjoy, it's yours. Kid, this is the baseball that I received when I went into the Hall of Fame. It's made of crystal, it's priceless, it is an heirloom. Don't drop it, okay? And then he wrote, and it's yours. I want you to hear the exact same thing Jack wrote, but this time imagine these words being spoken from across. Listen, one more time. Kid, friends, brothers, and sisters, this means a lot to me. I hope it means a lot to you too. Enjoy. It's yours. When I was a little guy, I saw some other kids in our neighborhood playing with fire and gasoline. These boys would sprinkle gasoline, they would strike a match, throw it on top, and it would boom. And I saw what they were doing. I figured, I can do that too. I made my way over to a 5-gallon can of gasoline. I started slowly pouring, thinking that it would spark to life. The fumes inhaled my flame up and into this canister, and it created this massive explosion. It spewed 5 gallons over my body, it ignited me, picked me off, and blasted me 15 feet against the far side of the garage. But I found myself with burns on 100% of my body. 87% were 3rd degree. I was on my back and in the emergency room dying. And that morning, Mom had the courage not to say, babe, this is a sunburn. You're going to be out of here tonight. She asked me a question, and the question was, John, do you want to die? And I thought about it for a moment. And I said, Mom, I'm not going to die. I'm going to live. That morning on my back, I had no idea it would be 5 months in some hospital. Dozens of surgeries, amputations, therapy. But we were going to fight. Right? We were going to fight. What about that little boy you see in that picture right now? What strikes you about my face? He's smiling. It's joy. That joy is a choice. And it's a choice to dream big from today, that tomorrow is going to be better. It may not be easy, but it's going to be worth a fight.
So I first met John O'Leary at a business class. This would have been in the fall of 2016. We've been able to hear lots of speakers, but John had a special charisma, a way about himself, and was able to connect in a number of different ways. One of the things that he challenged us to was basically to become a better person, and having seen what he had gone through as a child and the struggles that he had had with his injury really inspired you to do a little better. And about a month and a half or 2 months after the class, the postcard arrives in the mail, and that postcard was a little bit of a promise as to what you said you were going to do and how you would be a better person. And that happened to correspond with another event that my wife and I attended, and she was able to hear John speak and hear his message. And she herself got a copy of the book.
And I was able to hear John also, and after I heard him speak, he encouraged you to live a life inspired.
What am I fighting for back there? You know, we may not ask ourselves these questions very often, but they're critical, absolutely critical to our success. Today, what are you fighting for? Where do you want to go? Right? What difference do you want to make?
While we were in the hospital, Bert had gotten in touch with me, and he said, hey, is there anything y'all need, anything you do? I said, hey, could you please bring me a good book to read? And so he brought several books to us, and he said, hey, it might be a little too early for this one, but I think it might be a good book for you. Immediately that day, I started reading it as we were in ICU with Curtis, and as soon as you start reading that book, you just can't put it down. You want to continue to read, read, read. It took me a few days, I read it, and really just a very inspiring book, put things in perspective. And I texted Bert, I said, Bert, that was really one of the best books I've ever read before in my life. A few days later, our son Curtis was having a procedure done. And when we walked out of the waiting room, there was John O'Leary. And I said, oh my God, what are you doing here? He said, I'm here to see you, brother. Just how things worked out, him being in Jackson the same time that Curtis was there was really special.
John O'Leary came into our lives at one of the lowest points that we've ever experienced. And the cover of this book actually says, reading this book is like having a good friend look at you square in the eye and say, the time to be brave is now. And boy, did we have to be brave when our son was suffering. And just the inspirational story that he had about the pain that he went through and the pain he endured. And not only him, but his mom and dad as well, watching him suffer and struggle was almost exactly like what we were going through. John was 9 years old when he got in his accident, and Curtis was about 8.5 when his tragedy happens. Curtis will be able to, and we'll be able to get through this, and hopefully he'll live a fabulous life, and maybe one day, he can in turn share his story and be as motivating as John has been to so many people across the world. John O'Leary is a world-renowned speaker. He's spoken all over the country, all over the world. We are so honored, humbled, and excited to have him here at Kappa Chi to share his message, to speak to our students and our community.
I can assure you, by attending his presentation, his speech, reading his books, there's absolutely something in it for everyone.
You can't always choose the path that you walk in life, but you can always choose the manner in which you walk.